This is the On the Pony Express podcast, hosted by Billy Embody, brought to you by Epic Estate Wines. Walking strong on the Pony Express, a weekly segment with SMU alum, owner, vintner of Epic Estate Wines, Bill Armstrong. Epic Estate Wines, world-class wines from Paso Robles wine country. Learn more, Epic, E-P-O-C-H, epicwines.com. And now your host. Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let we go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Walking Strong with Bill Armstrong. Championship week.
Whew, dude. 10-2.
Unbelievable.
I mean, seriously, 10-2. I am so pumped. I am so pumped about what happened last week and what's happening this coming week. So proud of SMU and the boys. It's amazing. Before we get going, let's talk wine.
Yep.
This week, we have got an unbelievably great wine. By the way, this is the last wine of our Pony Express case. And this is Zinfandel. I guarantee you that the vast majority of the people that are watching this podcast has never had a good Zinfandel. Because remember back in the old days, they had white Zen? Everybody's first bottle of wine was a bottle of white Zen. And it was just like that really crappy, sugary stuff that you would have, the cheapest white wine on the menu kind of thing. But no, red Zen is fantastic. By the way, this is James Prochet's favorite wine, my intern,
yes,
a 2-year intern. He loves the Zinfandel. Zinfandel, the reason I picked it for this week, because this is our last week in the American Conference. And we're in the American Conference Championship game on Saturday against Tulane. And you know what the American grape is? It's not Cabernet. It ain't Chardonnay. It's Zinfandel. It is known as the great American grape. And it is brambly, and it's spicy, and it's fun, and it is just one of these, when you try a great Zen, a lot of people will say that's their favorite wine. That is so good. So this is perfect for the last week of the year. So this weekend, make sure you drink it. We are certainly going to earn it, and we deserve it if we lose, right?
Yep.
So anyway, fantastic. So here we go to New Orleans.
Yep.
Let's talk about
your other city.
My other city. My wife's from New Orleans. Oh, I mean, what is there not to say about New Orleans? I mean, what do they call it? The Big Easy, NOLA.
Crescent City.
The Crescent City. You know why they call it the Crescent City?
Sure.
Do you know?
I think I know, but you're going to have to jog my memory.
It's because it's right on that big crescent of the Mississippi River.
There it is.
And a great town. The town that Care forgot. All the great nicknames. Birthplace of jazz.
Yes.
I mean, it's a great town. I mean, it's an acquired taste. Let's be real.
Yep.
I mean, Mardi Gras. Hey, we got the Mardi Gras beads this week, huh?
Yeah.
Red and blue. So my wife and my family, we always go every year to Mardi Gras, and it's a spectacular weekend. It's just debauchery for 5-6 days. So we're going. We got our Mardi Gras beads on. We're going to Tulane. I'm pumped. Before we do that, let's talk about the Navy game.
Yep.
Want to?
Favorite restaurant in New Orleans? Quick. You got one real quick.
Commanders.
Yep.
Commanders Palace
Going
is my
Sunday.
favorite.
Going Sunday.
Are you really?
Going Sunday.
We tried to get reservations on Saturday night. It was booked.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Antoine's is my second.
Oh yes.
And yeah, it's great. The food there is spectacular.
Unbelievable.
Best food in the country.
Yes.
It is one of the unique American cities.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look around,
it's
got a culture. Some people would say a really seedy culture, but hey, it's my culture, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's one of those great American towns. There's very few, like Savannah, Georgia is kind of that way, where you have, Boston's got its own thing going on. San Francisco, before it turned into it had its own thing going on. But sorry for all my California friends.
Navy.
Let's talk about Navy. Like I told you last week, we have a lot to talk about this week. Navy, I told you before, that's the one school I'm going to miss the most in the American Conference. Did you read that list? That's in that list to you of the 25 seniors that were graduating from Navy. A half a dozen of them were Navy fighter pilots.
Yeah.
Another dozen was in the Marine Corps ground attack.
Yeah.
I mean, these boys are going to be fighting for our country in a year.
Yep.
and they may be, in some really lousy place around the world. And you know what? I just love the shit out of that. I just love that about them. It's so fantastic. Was that game crazy or what?
I mean, I was surprised.
I was too. I think everybody was surprised.
I felt like SMU, if things went right, which they did, well, at least in the scoreboard, would have been able to do something like that. But it doesn't really happen that often.
Oh, I know.
To them.
Dude, we could have scored 100.
Yeah.
By the way, it showed how classy Rhett is.
Yeah.
Because there's some other coaches that, that coach, some school in Fort Worth that would just run the score up. And we had 52 points at half. Yeah. We put in our third and fourth teams in the second half. We hardly threw the ball at all. Yeah. We only scored 7 points in the second half. And that was for a lack of not necessarily trying. Yeah. And, but it was crazy. I felt bad for Navy.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable. Before we talk about Preston's injury, let's talk about the players of the game. Yep. So my bottle of the game, I had multiple places I could have taken it. Moochie's one arm grab.
That was awesome.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you know how much I'm a Tyler Devine nut.
Yep.
His 3 touchdowns.
That was awesome.
I'm going to miss that guy.
Yeah.
But what it was, Will Bennett's.
Yeah.
Will Bennett's. Long snapper.
Yes.
I'm not sure if anybody realized what happened here. Yeah. The long snapper on our punt.
Hustle play.
Snapped the ball, ran down the field, and recovered it, a muffed punt in the end zone for a score. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of college football. If it has, maybe
I don't know. I have no
once,
idea. But it's got to be first for SMU. I feel like maybe.
I think it's first in college football. Period.
We need to stat check that.
It was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's a deceptively great athlete.
Yes.
I mean, he runs like 20 miles per hour. I mean, he's fast.
Legacy too.
Is he Legacy?
Yep.
Oh, come on. I didn't know that.
There you go.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Legacy, when Tyler Levine takes the field on Saturday against Tulane, he will have more starts than any pony in history. And he was a walk-on. And that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just fantastic.
I hope that record is not touched.
I hope not either.
And Hayden Howerton was awesome.
Yes, I know he was.
Marcus Hunt and a couple other guys. Mark Vusin, fraternity brother of ours. Those guys, were right up there in terms of games played and things like that.
But Tyler's going to break it. He's going to break it on Saturday. So fantastic. Let's talk about Preston real quick. Yeah. He had almost 300 yards passing in the first quarter.
Yeah.
He was on pace for a 1,000-yard game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on pace of shattering all quarterbacks in a one-game. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
I mean, everything went right. Everything he touched.
Everything went right. I mean, and those poor Navy defensive backs, they were just outmanned.
Yeah.
And Press knew it, and he was seeing the open guy, and as per typical, he was distributing the ball to everybody. Likens just told me, maybe you know this, he was just telling me that they have more receivers than any school in the country over 300 yards. Mm. Then we have more receivers than anybody in the country with over 400 yards.
Wow.
And then we have more receivers by a lot in the country that have 20 catches.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's been, Prochet called me down that one day. I said, "Where's the James Prochet? Where's the the Rasheed?" He says, "You don't need that. You just need 7 guys that are really good." And he proved it. Yeah, it's unbelievable. So then, of course, we can talk about Preston's unfortunate injury. That was really sad. Good news is it was a good, clean break. I first thought it was like T.J. McDaniel's injury at first, which ruined his football career.
Right.
But it's not that. It's just a break in the lower fibula. And he's actually, as we're recording this, as we speak, he's getting it surgically repaired.
So he can ride on the plane.
Yeah, and then go down with the team.
Yep.
And they're just going to put a plate on it. And I think they called he called me last night and we talked about his season and everything. Dude, he's 10-2.
Yeah.
He's 10-2, and he's effectively a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great year. I know there's some people out there that watch this podcast that kind of talk a little trash his way on the boards. Mm-hmm. I never ever comment on the boards just because that's just a mudslinging fight. I never want to get into it.
The great mystery would be what your handle would be. Don't spoil it, but I mean, people would be trying to figure it out. It would be a classic.
Okay, maybe I'll
have somebody run it.
Maybe I'll find a way to do that. I don't know. I can see some of these comments on there. I'm just rolling my eyes, just going, where do they come up with that?
Oh, there's some good stuff.
And then you get in these little petty little battles with them too, which I'm like, back down, Billy.
Yep.
I mean, don't wrestle with a pig.
Catch me on a wrong day.
Just don't wrestle with a pig because everybody just gets muddy.
Just wait till I don't have sleep when the baby comes.
That's true. You're gonna be grumpy as and you're gonna be on that board calling people down. Oh yeah. Yep. So anyway, Preston's gonna be 100% by March.
Yep.
I mean, so the good news is, it could have been an ACL. Yeah. It could have been an Achilles. It could have been a bad meniscus tear. It could have been so many things, and it wasn't. He was 10-2. He led our team. Each week got better and better and better. I mean, he only threw 6 picks. Yeah. He threw for almost 2 miles of yards, 3,200 yards. I mean, think about that. I mean, and he only had 6 picks and then holding 28 touchdowns. He was great. He was great.
I believe he was knocking on the top 10 of total touchdowns going into the game.
If you count just running.
I think he ended up probably right around that same mark, but I feel so bad for him. And he was playing his best football at the right time of year.
Yep.
Going down to Memphis or up to Memphis and taking that game.
Oh yeah.
North Texas. I mean, it was all starting to snowball, and for another SMU legacy. It's just a shame to.
I'm just damn proud of him the way he did it this year. I just, you know what I mean. I mean, and by the way, can we talk about November?
Yeah.
November under Sonny Dykes, our rankings, we were dropping like a prom dress. But under Rhett, we're 7-1 in November. I mean, it's exactly the opposite of a Sonny Dykes coach team. We're getting better as the season goes on. I mean, you can even see the practice today.
Yep.
But these kids, it's a family.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful team deal, and I love it. And all the kids are buying into it, which is just fantastic. So let me see what else happened this week. Oh, should we talk about Rhett's extension?
You need to sell some more wine. Is that what happened with the extension?
No, yeah, maybe. No, I'm not going to talk about that. By the way, have you noticed that they have not talked about the terms of the contract? But I'm just to say here for Mustang Nation, Rick Hart, David Miller, Gerald Turner did a great job of negotiating that contract, because it is going to be kind of a textbook style of what future contracts will go for in the future. You won't be seeing any more Jimbo Fishers. Yeah. To get paid $76 million not to coach. Yeah. Rhett's contract is very, very much results favored. So if he wins, if the team wins and everything, he gets incentivized. Yeah. And I love it that Rhett's willing to do that. Yeah. Because a lot of coaches would say, no, just pay me more money. And then, but Rhett has the confidence, the self-confidence to say, you know what? Listen, if I win, I want to be rewarded.
Yep.
I mean, I've always hired my people to work for me, and I have the best in the business in my oil company. And every single one of them, I made them take a pay cut when they came to work for me. But I gave them an equity piece in success. And if they weren't willing to buy into that demand, I would never hire them. But every one of them is way better off because they did that. But that's kind of what SMU did with this contract with Rhett. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a great contract for him. Yeah. But it was just structured in a way that is just, I think, brilliant. And hats off to our athletic department. Rick, way to go. And David Miller, way to go. So so that's that. Oh, I haven't told you. Today, November 28th.
2 years.
2 years ago today, Liz and I flew our jet to Miami, and we picked up Lauren and Rhett and the kids and flew them back from Miami to Dallas. I mean, some of your intrepid guys on the podcast were actually tracking my jet, and they're saying, why is a jet flying from Dallas to Miami and then turning around and flying right back to Dallas? And so that was a good day.
Yeah.
That was a good day for us. That was a good day for SMU. It was a good day for the Lashlees. And it was a great day for Mustang Nation. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you guys what we talked about on the jet on the 3-hour ride back from Miami or whatever it was, 3.5 hours. But I know this did come up. Rhett, I will make sure that SMU takes care of you, and as long as you take care of us. And I don't want you to ever tell me that we're great, because the last coach we had told me that like 50 times. And then that's some stabbed us all in the back and then and went to our rival across town. Of course, I was fresh off of that breakup. And Rhett and Lauren, I got to give him credit. And he even tells me, he goes, Bill, I know you don't want to hear this, but we love it. And but he knows. Yeah, I heard that. And he says, I go, I know you've heard this before. He's really funny about it. So anyway, that was a huge this week. I mean, I think the assistant coaches need it, the existing players, and the transfer portal kids coming in, and the recruits coming in. We know that we have Rhett here for a long time, and I think he's going to be here a long time, and I think he's going to keep winning for us. So I'm really pumped. God, what else do we have to talk about?
Kevin Jennings taking over. We can kind of turn our attention to Tulane if you're ready.
Oh, let's go to Tulane.
Let's go back to the Big Easy.
Let's go back to the Big Easy, the NOLA, as I like to call it. Let's go to NOLA. Kevin Jennings is going to be so good. You guys have no idea how good this kid is. I mean, you know, and I know. I would say that I've been to a lot of practices this year, maybe 50% or more of the practices. I would say about half the practices you would say, I thought Kevin outplayed Preston in practice. He's that good. I mean, he's fast. He throws on the run really well. He is really throws a good ball.
That first pass on Saturday was.
Well, what was that game early in the season where he threw for 4 touchdown passes on 4 throws?
Was it Prairie View?
Was it Prairie View? Yeah, his quarterback. His quarterback rating was like 1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, his first throw in that game, he literally knocked the guy down in the end zone.
Yeah, he hit one of the walk-ons. I think Bruiser down the sideline, and it almost knocked him out of bounds at like the 5 or 10. And
it was spectacular.
Yeah, but he kept his feet. Shout out him.
Yeah. And so KJ is going to do so well for us on Saturday. In a way, it's going to be a little bit intimidating for Tulane to figure out how to play him.
Yeah,
because they haven't seen him. They can't prepare for him. You know, like they could for Preston.
Yeah.
So I have no doubts. I mean, I think from a pressure standpoint, him winning the state championship at South Oak Cliff was probably a more pressure game by a lot than what we're going to have on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, so I have no doubts that he's going to do just an awesome job, and the team is going to rally around him.
And led the 90-yard touchdown drive against Memphis last year, cold off the bench when Tanner went down. Stepped in when Preston went down last year against Tulsa. Has prepared for a week already this season, he was going to start against North Texas. There's a lot of pieces here that are at play, and that state championship win, I talk to a lot of SOC coaches all the time still, and one thing that they told me about Kevin was we had an offense, and then once we got the hell out of the way and just said, you know what, we're going to let him do it, and he called his own plays basically, then they took off, and you win a state championship in front of 45,000 people in AT&T with all of Dallas behind you.
All of Dallas.
Not just SMU fans, but all of Dallas.
Yes.
You can see what Rhett Lashlee and them liked in Kevin in that little sprint. They offered him just about 3 weeks before that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, Mustang Nation, you need to know this. He is a great kid.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I mean, really a fine young man.
Silent assassin.
I mean, but it's just all smiles and really polite and just a real class act. So, by the way, Rhett's they recruit for class acts.
Yeah.
I mean, they just do such a good job. So, before we talk about Tulane, can I just do a quick? I love OU. The beatdown that they put on TCU last weekend was a thing of beauty. Was that not great? I mean,
my OU buddies were thrilled until about the third quarter for like a couple minutes.
A couple of minutes, but you know, let's face it. The two ugly stepsisters, Drizella and Anastasia, TCU and Baylor, combined those two teams 5 conference wins this year. We have 8. We haven't gone undefeated in our conference since 1935. That was before World War II. It was the Dust Bowl. I mean, think about it. The New Deal. Doak wouldn't
No,
hear you.
no.
Doak wouldn't hear you. Doak didn't come until the 40s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like, I think that's right, isn't it, Doak?
Right.
I don't know.
I'm trusting you on that.
I probably need to look that up.
You walk out of the
Doak.
comments.
I love Doak. I mean, think about that. And we have not won a conference championship. Moses walked through the desert as long as we have been. We have walked with Moses through the desert for 40 years, and that all comes to an end on Saturday when we played Tulane. So, so I just love it that Drizel and Anastasia got their ass kicked. I mean, and I can also say this for the American. I'm all over the map. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I asked you about the restaurants. I'm going to break away in a couple minutes and ask you about your favorite New Orleans cocktail. So go ahead.
Epic wine. The Big 12 had their foot on our neck all these years, and it was specifically TCU and Baylor, and they were not going to let us in. That's the ugly stepsisters that were doing that to us, and the idea that they have had a bad year this year. Just saying, TCU fans, Baylor fans, get used to losing. Okay, I could go off. You know I can.
Oh, I know.
You can. You've heard me go off because I have so many sunny stories that I have yet to share but I'm not going to go there. Let's talk about Tulane in the game. I love their coach.
He's awesome.
Willie Fritz.
Such a good dude.
He's such a good dude.
Done it
He's
JUCO.
He's my age, so he's 63, and he's just a class.
Spring chicken.
And I got a man crush on their quarterback. I got to say, Michael Pratt he's like a winner. I think last week I said that Pratt could win with the Pi-Fi flag football squad.
I think he did.
I mean, he is that good. But that said, Tulane is not as good as they were last year.
Doesn't seem.
They've lost a lot of their several of their really good receivers. Yep. Although this new running back Hughes is really good. I mean, he is really good. I
did not have them replacing Tyjae Spears like that.
I know, neither did I. So he's really good. But actually, I'm going into the game pretty confident.
I know. Scary, right?
Yeah, maybe. Just because we keep overperforming each week.
Yeah, I mean, we sold SMU short against Navy.
I think I said 14 points.
I think I said 38, 13 or something like that.
Even the score you always predict before every game?
I took a few off because they run the ball so well. It's going to be raining. You got a good raincoat recommendation for
Is it going to be raining?
Probably going to be raining.
Probably going to be raining. Does that help the offense or the defense?
I think it helps SMU's defense a little bit.
Does it?
Which is good.
Okay.
I think if they can hold Tulane to like 14 points,
I know they won't be able to stop us from scoring more than 14. Although their defense is good.
Yeah,
their defense is good, and they guard you in a way that you have to throw underneath.
They had 5 picks against UTSA last week and won 29-16. I'm not trying to we can probably go down the scores and look at this. They should be undefeated. They lost to Ole Miss without Pratt.
Yep.
But
that's true. But
it's one of those things. SMU's been rolling the last couple of days.
I know, and Tulane kind of barely beat Tulsa. It was weird.
Yeah.
And Charlotte kind of gave them a game.
Yep.
And
UNT gave them a game.
Memphis
gave them a game. And
and then they didn't put the beat down on UTSA at all.
Yeah.
By the way, one of my favorite coaches in the league is Traylor.
Yep.
At UTSA. They have 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
You can't beat anybody with 5 turnovers.
Nope.
So I feel really good about the game. But hey, that's why they lace them up on Saturday, right? So I really like going into Tulane. By the way, I like that little cute stadium. It feels like a soccer stadium.
It does.
And it's I don't know, I like it, and it's intimate.
Yep.
And
could be packed.
And during the COVID year,
that's right.
I went with my wife. We were there was only 3 fans. Paul Lane and Liz and I in the entire stadium.
Yep.
It was unbelievable. And so I have kind of a fond memory. It was an overtime game, wasn't it? Didn't we kick a field goal and hit a post and go into overtime?
Yes,
like
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
That was who was the kicker? That was a stud that year for SMU.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway,
there's a lot of demons kind of to send out, or cool storylines that connect SMU and Tulane. I think, isn't it kind of the same how SMU got started is similar to the way Tulane and a couple of those other schools along the.
I should know that. I should have looked that up. I'm sorry. I should have looked up the history of Tulane.
Because like Tulane, Emory, Duke, I think, were all renamed for people. And then they got to Texas and we're like, what the hell? They keep renaming our schools.
Oh, is that right?
Methodist. That's what I heard. I don't know. It might not be true, but I'm pretty sure SMU stayed SMU because people were renaming all the schools.
I did not know that.
On the way across the country as the Methodist were.
They're all the Methodist. So originally it was a Methodist school.
Yep.
Did not know that.
I could be wrong on maybe not Tulane, but I'm pretty sure.
Tulane's a good school.
Yeah.
It's a good school, a pretty campus, not nearly as pretty as SMU's because it's a little bit more disorganized.
Yeah, they got the old Oaks.
The old
Oaks.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's right there on St. Charles.
Yep.
So I hope so many of you fans go to this game.
There's a lot of people.
Are they going?
Is
it going to be
reading the board?
Oh, is that right?
I'm gonna start a official like who's there's a couple threads about who's in, who's out.
You're going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Friday night, little like 9 o'clock meet up somewhere, bar near Tulane.
Oh, very fun.
Pick a spot and
Ye Old College House. It's great.
Okay.
It's really good.
Okay.
That'd be a good one to go to. Fat Harry's.
Okay.
You know, there's some good places to go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing about New Orleans.
Oh,
you know,
the
what's your favorite New Orleans cocktail? You have a favorite
Milk
New Orleans
punch. What are you like?
The fact that he knew that so fast is a little
I could
scary.
my dad makes just as good of a milk punch as Brennan's does. I'm not kidding. And I mean, I like the Hurricane. As I've gotten older, they're tougher to knock down. When my brother turned 21, I had 4
because they knocked you down.
Yeah, that's just harder. They can swing back. I don't know. They're making it stronger.
Oh man,
I don't do the hand grenades, but the Sazerac is unbelievable.
You're killing me.
All the Bourbon Street stuff is like I'm starting to leave it. You've got the Sazerac. You've got the Pim's Cup. Pim's Cup is excellent at Napoleon House. I could go on about the cocktails.
I am like you're killing me, man.
My parents got engaged in New Orleans. I've been going there for years.
Well, my wife's from there, so I spent a lot of time. We have a place there.
Yep.
We have our place there is unbelievable.
Badass.
It's a 150-year-old chapel.
Yep.
And my wife.
We were there a year ago.
My wife finally figured out that she couldn't get me to church, so she bought me a church. What is that?
Well,
anyway, it's really nice. It's really nice. I love this town. I mean, it really is. And it's the town that Care forgot, but I love it.
Talked about last year was a bad night there. They've got a chance to write the story here.
Yep. I totally agree.
I think they can do it. Somebody asked me, does it change how you feel with Kevin being at quarterback? I don't. I think the blueprint's the same, and there's a little bit more unknown, maybe, but this guy has played in a lot of big games. I think the defense travels. The run game is going to have 2 rested running backs. I think they figure it out. As long as they don't turn it over and do some backbreaking stuff.
Tyler still could have a great game. I mean,
yeah,
Kamara could have a big game.
Yep.
I mean, obviously,
the team is deep.
Obviously, Rooster and LJ, you know, they're rested. All right, I feel good about it.
Marcus Bryant
but it's a he's back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we're going way too long on this podcast.
Prediction.
But prediction: SMU by 10.
I think that's pretty safe. I go SMU by 8, something like 24, like 16 though.
Okay, what's the line?
The line is moving towards TCU. You talked about TCU a lot. Tulane.
I did talk about that piece of crap at TCU, didn't I?
It's moving towards Tulane. It was at 5.5 last I saw. It opened at 3, I believe, when Preston was announced that he's out. Vegas, people are hammering Tulane, and Vegas is saying, all right, we got to move it.
So it's getting closer to parity?
No, it's moving. Tulane is almost a touchdown favorite now.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I see a
world. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
I see a world where, you know, they can win. Like, I have a lot of respect for Willie and what they do.
He's a great coach.
Great coach.
Yep.
Great coach.
And Pratt always pulls a rabbit out of the hat.
Yep.
I mean, that game last year against USC,
yeah,
arguably the funnest final 90 seconds of any football game I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
And awesome. I have a ton of friends that went to Tulane.
Yep.
And they have it on constant repeat at their house, that game. It's just like I have the Georgia game, the Georgia TCU game on constant repeat at my house.
I love it.
All right, let's call this to an end.
Okay.
Cool. Are we going to talk about cocktails some more, for fuck's sake?
No.
I mean,
are we going to talk about TCU?
I could go on. I could go on.
Hold on, stop. I didn't say that. All right. Guys, enjoy this week. This doesn't come around very often. Hopefully, it obviously happens more, but this is a special week.
This is the final bottle of the Pony Express case. But we need to do this. We need to do this some more. We can't stop, can we?
No.
Okay. Now they may want us to stop. They like
Sonny
stop doing
probably
this.
does.
Our dozens of fans that want us to stop.
We can
Tens of fans.
hundreds for sure by now. But yeah, guys, enjoy this weekend. Bill, enjoy it in your other city, man. It's been a fun season
awesome.
and
very, very fun season.
Yep. So
Okay.
appreciate you guys listening to the Walking Strong podcast. Head to epicwines.com/pony to get that Pony Express case. Catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU-on3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.